So we're expecting at least 50 people on right now and really engaging with you. We also have some amazing speakers. And before I go into the formalities of it, I wanted to check if anybody wants to say hi and where they're coming from. I see some waves. Can everybody, if you look at your, if you click on participants, if you join on,
I was reading.
can you please rename yourself so you can see your first name and then which country you're coming from? Hiya now. Great. I see a lot of usernames with Mo. Could you rename with your first name, please, and where you're coming from? So you click on participant and then it says more and then it says rename. And while we're doing that,
Lami. Listen fine. Utlikile sama. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You're on mute, Aditi.
I've told everybody else to mute. Sorry about that. Thanks, Adibayo. So I am Aditi. I'm a civil engineer as well, and I work with women, and we've done work across the world in 22 countries, and we get to meet girls online now from Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. And so our mission today is to really learn about engineering and technology and to ask a lot of the burning questions you've been posting on the groups and wanting to learn from each other as well. Just to help make things work on the call today, there's a few guidelines. So the call will be recorded and we'll be sharing it with you through a YouTube link. Everybody is muted currently. We are going to have a space and time for you to ask questions and get answers as well, where you can unmute yourself. If you do want to unmute yourself, you can also raise your hand. So if you click on your name under the participant list, you'll find your name and you can raise your hand as well so that we can see and get your attention as well. You can also use reactions. So if you click on the panel, you should be able to see reactions and a thumbs up or a clap. Can some of you try it out? Can you see it? Oh, great. I can see some already with the thumbs up. Perfect. And lastly, just so that we can get to know everybody, I see some raised hands as well. We'll get to you now. Just so that we can see everybody name and your country. So if you click on participant tab, if you click on the participant tab and you put your first name and your country as well, so you can rename. Let me have a look. Great, I can see some people here already doing it. Okay, I see a lot of raised hands. Does anybody want to unmute? Do you have any questions up front right now?
And I keep on. So we can manage.
Okay, great. And just to make sure that we're all feeling safe on the call today, 3 key things from our side is we're really happy for you to be engaging and doing idea sharing with us. So any ideas that you have and would like to share with us on the call, feel free to do so. There are no stupid questions, so we'd love to hear the types of questions you have, and you can do that either by asking them by unmuting yourself or in the chat. So if you look on your panel as well, there's a chat feature. And if some people want to try posting a question or saying a quick hi in the chat feature, you can do so now.
Nyara. Warata. Utubiri kaya hamma.
Kiseko, can you mute yourself? Great, I can see many of you found the chat feature. Great. So as I said, we are recording the call, so please to avoid background disturbances, please keep your audio muted so then we can avoid that. Bessie?
Yes.
Can you please mute yourself for now until we get to the Q&A session?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can still hear someone. Kaseko, can you please mute? We are getting some background. Please can Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. So I'm going to take you through a quick overview of how the next 1.5 hours is going to work. We're doing a quick introduction context.
How reactions? Reaction.
Can we please put everybody on mute? Okay, we are going to get disturbances. Please can I ask that everybody remains on mute, else we're not going to hear the rest of the conversation, right? So going through really quickly today, we're going to have a quick introduction and context about engineering and technology. We're going to be learning more about engineering and technology from some of our guests, and I've shared that on WhatsApp as well. And then we're going to really have an engagement session where you get to ask any of the questions that are burning for you and want to learn more about these career paths. And then finally closing and next actions. A quick overview. Okay, so a quick overview of what does engineering and technology in the world look like is, as you can see, there's key branches that we often hear in terms of mechanical, chemical, electrical, civil engineering, and each of these key branches also have different specializations in it that you can work in. So engineering and technology is a very vast career path, and you can go into many fields as well. So what are engineers? Engineers are futurists, we artists, and we plan for long horizons, so 50 to 100 years. And some of the amazing things we're doing includes 3D printing. So this house was built in 48 hours using 3D printing. Exciting, right? And then we're talking about drones. So using transportation that doesn't need someone to sit in the vehicle to fly it. Also about fun stuff. So this year is technology that's being used in terms of dressing up. So when you go into a shop, you really don't need to go into a dressing room anymore. You can look into the mirror and see yourself with the clothes on already. Or you can have a technology-driven wardrobe as well, closet where it reads your diary and can suggest clothes in your closet for you. We're also going to be talking about artificial intelligence and biotechnology. So with COVID now, everybody knows about COVID and the vaccinations that are going on. And data mining, who knows what data mining is? So data mining is, as we are talking on the call right now, or sharing when you're on Facebook and Instagram, it's taking information and creating more specialized content for you as well. And lastly, if anyone wants to go to Mars, can we see a reactions, hands up? Can see Asanda and Anele's got their hands up. Great, a lot of raised hands. Great, and going straight into it is, I'd like to welcome some of our guest speakers online. So we have Adivayo, we have Etna, we have Jabu, we have Judith, and we have Lena on the call today. And you want to hear a lot more from them, and they come from civil engineering, mining geology, electrical engineering, and also chemical engineering. Lena is a student currently studying right now. So I'm going to stop my screen for a moment and we get to meet some of them. Adivayo, are you on the call? Do you want to have a quick hi and introduction of yourself?
Yes. Hi, Aditi. Thank you so much, Aditi and WomH team. Hi, everyone. My name is Adivayo Bridget Mpapuli, and I am a civil engineer. I studied civil engineering at the University of Johannesburg, and I'm originally from Limpopo, one of the hottest provinces in South Africa. I had to say that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to engaging with you guys and just, learning more from each other and everything. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks, Adivayo. Next, Jabu, can we hear from you?
Hi, everyone. Sorry, my video is giving me issues for some reason. I've been trying to switch it on that you guys can see me, but it seems like it's impossible. Anyway, my name is Jabulile Majosi. I'm from KwaZulu-Natal in Newcastle. I am a mining geologist based in Venetia Mine in South Africa. I've been a geologist for the past 11 years. I studied geology at the University of the Western Cape. Yeah, and that's it about me. Thanks.
Great, and next can we hear from Etna?
Good morning, beautiful ladies. My name is Ethna from Botswana. I'm a mining engineer, studied at Wits. I'm currently on my 11th year working for the company, but in total, I've got about 11 years with the company, not 11, rather 18, including the scholarship. So it's part of it is scholarship, and then 11 years is working for the company. So I'm looking forward to having a great day with you ladies. Thanks.
Perfect. And next we're gonna hear from Judith.
Morning, ladies. My name is Judith Malebe. I'm from Limpopo, South Africa, and currently based in Pretoria. I studied electrical engineering at the University of Pretoria, and is currently working as an electrical engineer at the South African Air Force. I look forward to this session and I'm excited to engage with you.
Great, thanks, Judith. Next we have Lena.
Hi everyone, my name is Lina Nakamwe. I'm a chemical engineering student at Namibia University of Science and Technology, and I'm from Namibia.
Great, thanks Lena, and thanks everybody for a quick introduction. I think really going to get into it now and how it's going to work. It's going to share some questions that we have prepared just to get to know you a little more, and then thereafter, ladies, feel free to put your questions in the group as well. And as we're going through the session, we can answer some of those questions, right? So whether you want to know what's the best thing that you've done at work, or the most challenging, or have you failed in anything, or if you come from a small town like yourself, share that in the chat group and we'll be following as we speaking to our engineers, and we can answer them as we go as well. So looking forward to a lot of those questions. Ready to get started? I'm going to ask our engineers, each one can have a turn, can you tell us a little bit about your day and the day in the life of you as an engineer? What does a typical day look like? And so I'm going to start with Adivayo. So Adivayo, as a civil engineer in South Africa, what does your day typically look like?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about my experience as a civil engineer at ESCOM, an intern in training. So what you see with civil engineering, right, you are given the opportunity to just kind of like focus on certain fields like hydraulics, your transportation, your geotech, your structural, which can be steel and concrete. So what I was mainly focusing on was hydraulic engineering and structural engineering. So on a typical day, we're just, I was working under supervision. So we would just inspect hydraulic pumps, would inspect pipes in the coal stockyard, and would normally have a number of meetings with contractors who are working on projects, and just kind of like co-working in finding solutions that are related to hydraulic engineering, and also just designing frames for water tanks that are needed in the site. So the kind of problems we'll solve is just maintenance of hydraulic pumps, and also just kind of like knowing which hydraulic pump to install, and also detecting the noise and making sure that there is no leakage, because once we start having leakages, then it becomes a problem and it just interrupts the whole system. So yeah, that's basically what we do. Thank you.
Great, thanks Adivayo. It sounds exciting. We're going to learn more from you as well. Next, we're going to hear from, let me share my screen. We're going to hear from Etna. So Etna is a mining engineering, and Etna, can you take us through a typical day? And I'm going to share a few photos of Etna that she's shared with us from her in the workplace. Etna, could you take us through this? And also, what does a typical day look like for you as a mining engineer? What problems do you solve? Hi, Etna, are you on mute? Hi, Etna. Okay, while we wait for Etna to come online, Jabu, maybe take us through your day as a geologist, right? What does it take to become a geologist? What do you do? Where do you work? Let us in on the good stuff.
All right. So as a geologist or a mine geologist, your typical day includes, so geologists, basically what we do, right, is in the mining industry, we advise mining in terms of the direction they should be mining on, what type of material they should mine. And, you know, everybody knows geology is all about the study of the earth and the minerals that are within the earth. So we look at the minerals, we'll be analyzing the grade of the minerals. We'll be analyzing, basically advising the guys, okay, you shouldn't mine there, you should mine in this direction. Maybe there's a geological structure that can obstruct your mining in that area, so you can't be mining there. Maybe you need to be mining in that area. So we do this. We know all of these things by conducting what we call drilling. So drilling is basically it's like you're boring into your earth surface, and then you get what we call core. Core is basically what I'm analyzing over there. So we're looking at the rock that we're getting, and then you analyze the minerals that are within that rock and any structures that are within the rock. So you'll say, okay, I know, and then after that you sample, take it to the lab, and then you'll know how much grade there is. In that way, by knowing the grade and knowing the tons that you're expecting there and the type of material that you're expecting, minerals that you're expecting from a certain area, you are able to advise investors with regards to the minerals and how much they actually would be getting out of the mine or any area that they are looking into. So geologists are basically involved in all phases of the mine, from when the mine hasn't even started. Geologists are the first line in the production, not in the production line, but in your feasibility studies. So we'll go there and assess any area and maybe look at the vegetation, look at the rocks that you're finding in that area, and we say, okay, here you can find platinum, here you can find diamonds, here you can find gold. And then from there, we take it to the investors, we sample, and then we drill. After we've sampled and drilled, then we say, okay, guys, this is how much gold and platinum or diamonds that you can expect from this area, and this is how much money you can expect to make. And then from there, the investors will do an investment decision. And then from there, we get involved into guiding now the mining teams with how they should be doing the actual mining. So right now, once you've started mining, basically your day includes advising the guys with regards to the grade that they should be mining, if they're not mining in the right area, if they're mining in the right area, and just doing and managing your drilling programs as well, because it just doesn't end from when you start drilling before the mine actually begins. You still need to do more drilling so you can be able to advise people properly with regards to what is going on the ground.
Great, thanks for that description, Jabu. I think it's really helpful, and we're definitely excited to learn more about it and what does it mean for everybody else, and what can we do with this type of career. I'm going to go back to Etna now. Etna, are you available online?
I hope it will be stable this time around, because I iPad, but it's giving me issues. Am I audible now?
Yes, we can hear you. So Edna, you shared some amazing photos of yourself in the workplace as well. Can you take us through a typical day in your job, and what problems do you solve?
All right, like I've highlighted before, I got cut. I've gone through the training where you start in the field, you do your drilling and blasting, load and hauling, supervision, foremanship, until you get appointed to an engineer position. So I've gone through those phases. I've done operations. Now I'm on the technical pipeline. Technical is where you now do your planning, your systems, and other technical stuff where you look at other aspects of the strategy. So what I do currently is long-term planning, where now I'm interfacing between your strategic intent of the business, which is from head office, and operations. So on a day-to-day space, I make sure that the operations are working towards the plans so that we attain what we have promised our shareholders. So here in the picture on the left, here I'm with the senior mining manager, just talking to the operational efficiencies and the other team members where we're looking at the constraints in the pit to say, how do we debottleneck the pit? So such are some of the works that I do. We go into the field, identify areas which are constraining production and try and debottleneck. So that's a typical day for myself. But on the bigger scheme of things, I do interface the operations to your head office. I'm not sure if I've explained enough.
Yeah, perfect. And I see, Kaseko, your hand is up, and Nia, your hand is up as well. Do you all have questions right now? Okay, you can come back. And as I said, girls, if you want, you can put questions in the chat. Also, anything interesting that comes up for you, and we'd love to hear. We are following right now. And then let's go straight to Judith. Judith, maybe you can take us through your day as an electrical engineer.
All right. So basically what electrical engineers do almost in every industry is they design electrical systems. And if there's no new projects that's been implemented, they basically perform quality tests on the systems, or they monitor and control and maintain the existing electronic systems. So particularly pictured here, I was working on a project where we were manufacturing a new model car. And basically what happens is in the morning on a typical day, we'd get together and we highlight the plan for the day. So you find that I'm working with contractors and I would have a team. And so my responsibilities would be to ensure that whatever is going to be produced adheres to the design specifications as on paper, and that we reach the accuracy that has been designed for. And we would normally highlight what are the possible challenges that we can face and how are we going to solve them. And at the end of the day, basically, then we go through our plan for the day and we find out if we reached our targets, and if we didn't, what was the problem, how can we solve the problem so that we do not encounter it the following day, what was our accuracies, and we analyze those tests. So that's typically what I do.
Sounds exciting, and I see a lot of questions and stuff coming up in the chat as well. Thanks, Judith, and we're going to be chatting to you even more. Let's go quickly on to Lena. So Lena, you're a chemical engineering student in Namibia currently. Can you take us through what are you currently studying? What does it actually look like in practice? What's exciting about chemical engineering?
Well, there's nothing really much to how I can describe a day in the life of a chemical engineer, because if you are not doing assignments or you are not studying, you're probably running to go and make, you see those last minute, now you are rushing to go and print, so you go and hand in. And I can say the most exciting thing about chemical engineering is just how you basically get to learn so many things from different aspects. Like sometimes you get to be introduced to concepts of electrical engineering or mechanical. So the fact that you are able to be exposed to so much, I think is one of the most interesting things about chemical engineering.
Great. And in terms of chemical engineers, where do they typically work? So once you graduate, where do you want to work as a chemical engineer?
There's so many places where as a chemical engineer you can work. But in my case, I want to work in the petrochemical, but you can as well go and work in breweries, you can go work in food productions, you can go work in the mines. as I said, it's very interesting because it's broad. You get to decide which way where you really want to work. Like you can also go and work in water treatment companies. So it's up to you and what you love as you are studying the courses.
Amazing. And so I'm going to stop there. And you've gotten to see already, girls, a glimpse of our different engineers. I see some questions coming in, a lot about the difficulty of mathematics and science, and we're going to cover that. I see some here. Lydia, I see you talking about it and giving you sleepless nights. What subjects, what is computer science? So we are going to get to some of those questions. I think let's take one more question from each of our engineers, and that really is around engineers. Now that you are in your career, is this actually where you thought you would be when you were the age of a lot of our audience today? So between 14 to 18 years old. My question to you is, what is one of your earliest memories that you have of wanting to pursue a career in engineering and technology? So we're going to go in reverse, and Lena, let's start with you.
Okay. I've always looked up to my brother because he's he's a civil engineer. So he has always been my inspiration. So looking at him being studying engineer, I was like, no, I also want to become a civil engineer. So in 2014, there's this other Jet magazine that normally has it has different pages on, and then there's a section that had to do with engineering. So I found this. I made sure to bring it just to show you. I kept this from 2014. It was written Life of a Civil Engineer. So I also wanted to be a civil engineer by then. And reading this really just inspired me to go for engineering because it talked about how we are looked at as superheroes. So I really wanted to be a superhero and change people's lives. And then, yeah, I thought I wanted to be a civil engineer. Unfortunately, I couldn't do civil engineering because when I applied, it was full. And the only one that was open was chemical engineering. So I had to settle for chemical engineering. But looking back, I'm actually glad that I was able to find a place in chemical engineering because I loved it more than I love what is happening in civil. So I'm actually loving it. And I got to realize that reading it now, this was an article that was written by a founder of Women. So yeah, so it's quite exciting to see that. I think she's the one that inspired me now to do engineering. Yeah, that's basically it. I wanted to do civil, but then I ended up into chemical. But I'm loving it, and I'm actually glad that I really went for chemical.
Great, thanks for that, Lena. And I'd love to see that article as well. Definitely.
Okay.
Let's go to Judith from your side.
Yes. So from my side, when I was in high school, I didn't know any engineer. And I heard of engineering as something that people who do well in school do. So I didn't really understand it. I always wanted to do other things, doctor, actuary, finance, and only in my matric year, and I was introduced to engineering by one of the teachers, and he told me that I would make a good engineer because I'm smart. And from then on, I thought, interesting option, let me read about it. But when I read about it then and the understanding that I have of it now, I was very far from understanding what engineering is all about. So I went on and I applied for engineering, and I applied for mechanical, and well, I ended up in electrical, and I really enjoy it now. I really love it. And basically I took engineering because at that time all the smart people did engineering, so I also went for engineering.
I love the honesty as well and the confidence about being smart, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jabu, from your side?
So I sort of like stumbled across geology. When we were still in grade 10, I think standard 8, or I don't know what in terms of forms, what it is. But we went on a school trip into visiting one of the mines. So when we got into the mines, they showed us like the open pit, kind of like what the mining engineer Atenia was showing. And then, so, but yeah, the person who was explaining to us wasn't like really exciting and stuff. So we just thought, okay, you've got a mine and people are mining, they were mining coal, and there was really nothing that was exciting me about wanting to work in a mining environment or being a geologist. I didn't even know anything about being a geologist. So when I started, when I finished my matric, then I enrolled to become a computer scientist. So when I started doing computer science in my first year, and then I was friends with a friend of mine who was doing geology. And you know, like when you're like at varsity and you like got your free time and that type of thing, you visit your friend's class just to kind of see what they kind of do. And then we'll go there and then they'll be busy analyzing rocks and, you know, saying all these things about minerals, doing all these exciting stuff. So it kind of like got me excited about geology, and that, you know, I took up an interest in it. So and then I got so the friend of mine came with bursary forms, and she was applying for bursary at Anglo Platinum at the time. And then so I took the forms and I just, you know, applied as well. I didn't even know, just said, okay, I'll do geology as well. So I put up the form. Luckily, I got the bursary, and after several interviews, and during one of the interviews, they took us to a mine which was underground, and they pay you up with an actual geologist at the site. And now that's when I began to understand geology and what they do, and I just became excited from them. So coming back from that visit, I knew exactly that I had fallen in love with geology and this is what I wanted to do. So I just swapped from computer science and I went into geology. And yeah, I've been in love ever since.
Perfect. And Edna, from your side?
All right, from my end, it's sort of similar to Jabu's. Kind of stumbled on mining. Started off wanting to be a doctor, like many of you guys here. Fast forward to Form 5, this side, I don't know if that side, if it's grade 10 or whatever. So after Form 5, we started applying for university. I had applied for BSc, which is a Bachelor of Science. And also during that time, we had a Botswana scholarship program. So I also applied for that. Likely I got an offer that was for mining engineering. And then I said, what the hell, let me try this out, because it was sort of similar to the field that I wanted, which is your sciences, but it was sort of shifting a little bit, not doing the biology, but focusing on physics and chemistry and maths. So I had to go through that, and I passed, went to varsity, started my Bachelor of Science Engineering Mining at Wits. So the first time I went for a mine visit or in the field, it was after first year when we did our vacation work. It was very exciting. It was totally different ball game altogether. And I just fell in love with it, and the passion grew from there until today. It's just an exciting journey. So it's one of those. Thank you.
Great. Love hearing these stories. Lastly, Adebayo, your story.
Yeah, so for me, I've actually loved civil engineering from a young age. I remember I got inspired by my brother who pursued civil engineering. And I was like, yes, I'm just going to dive into this male-dominated industry. Whether I'm a female, it's fine. I'll still just dive into it. I remember my dad wanted me to be a doctor, and I'm scared of blood, guys. I don't know if many of you are scared of blood, but I really, salute doctors, because I didn't want to do anything that's related to medicine. So yeah, I got inspired, and I was really fascinated as well by just everything that just happens in civil, like, the creativity and the designs and everything. And I just wanted to solve water engineering problems as well, because I come from a place where we would run out of water, and it used to just bother me. I just wanted to make a change in that industry and solve those kind of problems as well. So yeah, I pursued a career in civil, and yeah, I'm very keen, mostly about hydraulics and just solving the water challenges that we have globally and just in South Africa. So yeah, I enrolled as a civil engineer in UJ, and yeah, that's basically what I did. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everybody. And I think it's provided so much. And I see the chat section in our call is getting filled with lots of insights and questions as well. And I see a lot coming from Lydia and Jane. Lydia, do you want to unmute yourself and share your insights to date already? Lydia from Namibia? Okay, so we are going to move on to the section around you ready now, getting the chance to ask the burning questions that you have. We're going to take some from the chat, but we're also letting you have the freedom to unmute yourself and ask those questions as well. So we have engineers from Botswana, from Namibia, and from South Africa, and you can ask all the engineers a question, or you can ask a specific engineer a question. And we'd love to hear your voice. So definitely, if you've got a question, raise your hand. I see a lot of hands getting raised. And also you can unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from you. To help the conversation get started, I'm going to go into the chat and see some of the questions we have there. And starting really early on is we've got a lot of questions from Jade and Lydia here. And ladies, I'd love to hear your insights more if you want to unmute. Engineers, experts, there's a big question here around the difficulty of maths and science and how important it is. What is your take on the importance of mathematics and science, and why do we need it, especially in engineering and technology? Anyone want to go first? Judith, maybe from your side, did you enjoy maths and science in school? Was it difficult for you? You said you're very smart. What helped you get the grades that were required for engineering and mathematics and technology?
All right. First of all, I had a lot of challenges with mathematics. It was not really quite a breeze for me, but when I was in high school, what helped me the most was I used to study with my friends. So instead of sitting alone and studying and struggling and saying, I will ask my teacher when I get to class, it was easier to ask my friend who was sitting next to me. So it's really important that whilst you're studying, if you don't understand something, you voice it out immediately and you don't postpone it. And it's also very important in order to improve your mathematics skills, to practice and practice and practice. It just gets easier when you practice. And once you get to varsity with your studies, you realize that it has less to do with how smart you are, but more on how disciplined are you. Because by that stage, you fairly know the principles that you need to apply in order to pass in your studies. But now you are in a new environment, you are adjusting to the surroundings. So it's more about discipline and making time to practice and go through your work, and then you will pass. It's really important also to understand the principles of your science and mathematics while you're still in high school. Some of the things, or most of the things, you don't know why you are doing them, or you don't know why you need to understand them. But when you get to varsity, it starts linking, it starts connecting. You start seeing more and being taught more of the application of the principles that you learn in your high school, and it becomes a continuing journey, because even in my work, I get even more fascinated now that I learned that a certain principle or system that I was taught, and now I get to do it practically, and then I see the relevance of having strong mathematical and physics skills. So in a nutshell, when you're in high school now, surround yourself with a good support system, your friends or your brother or your sister, you practice your maths. When you get stuck, you ask immediately. When you're in class, if you don't want to ask in front of other students, it's important to go to your teacher and you tell them that you don't understand. So you do it until you understand.
Great pieces of advice. And Judith, maybe to add to your conversation as well, is why is maths and science so important? And yes, it is difficult, but compared to your other subjects like English and Afrikaans here in South Africa and your different languages, maths and science is what's called an applied subject. And you really have to think about how you're solving a problem. And when you think about engineering and engineers as a whole, our key job, no matter what discipline you are in, is to solve a problem. And so that is why maths and science is considered important. It makes you become a problem solver, which is a critical skill, especially for the future when we are going to be competing with robots even for our jobs, right? So yes, it might feel challenging right now, but it's around how do you work past those challenges to thrive and learn from it as well. And Jade, to add to this, now you're part of the women's community and the girl-inch community. So you have our girl-inch group's got over 100 girls in it already. And really use this network to help you get through the struggles and cope with it as well. Is really, as you said, Judith, is connect yourself with friends. And now you have this new network that if you are stuck with a challenge or a problem and need guidance, need assistance, is you can reach out to girls as well as the women's team and volunteers to really help you move past those challenges as well. So thanks for bringing up that conversation, and thanks, Judith, for answering it as well. I see some more questions, but I also see some hands up, and I'd love to hear from you. Jade, I see your hand is up. Would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, good morning. I'm not sure if everyone can hear me.
Perfect.
Okay, so I was just talking about how challenging maths and physics can be, because I genuinely enjoy the subjects. It's just that teachers play a huge role in whether or not we get good marks. And the school that I attend, we don't have many, I would say, good teachers that really engage with their students and make sure that we do well. We also lack in textbooks, so most of the time we don't have resources to learn from. Luckily for us, we're millennials, so we have the internet, but yeah, so most of the time I have to come home and then learn everything that I was supposed to learn at school by myself. So it's just explaining that could be very disencouraging.
Definitely, and definitely I agree with you, Jade, around teacher support, right? Is a lot of the work we do at Women is really to support that gap, where sometimes teachers themselves really don't know what the future looks like as well. And providing that guidance, and a lot of high school learners look into teachers for the guidance. It is a difficult subject. Jade, what grade are you in as well?
I'm currently in grade 10.
Great, and I think it's it's such a important time, especially being in grade 10. It's starting to think, having enough time to think about the career path you want to get into, but it also is setting that foundation for when you do get into grade 11 and 12. And as I said, is you're really now being part of the women's community and support is using it as a space to engage with other girls, engage with us on where those difficulties are. The fact that you're showing up on the call today as well shows your passion and interest to get ahead in life, right? So thanks for bringing up a really relevant topic, and hopefully us looking collectively at how we can support teachers and our community and everybody else around to understand the importance of the support that you all need as high school learners as well.
Yes, very much agreed. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jade. I see Jabu, your hand is up. Do you want to share some insights?
Yes, I just wanted to add on to sort of like an advice with regards to maths and physics. One of the things that you can always do, you can find a cousin or anybody around in your community as well who can who's like passionate about maths and physics. I do like it around where I am. I do a lot of tutoring to students in my spare time, like helping them with maths and physics, because it's what I love. And so there's a lot of people who actually do that. So it's also about just pairing up with those people, whether it could be a family friend or just somebody in your community who can assist you if you are not getting the assistance that you need from school. And I would just like to add as well that actually most of the time working out in groups, me and my friends, we were a group of girls. We used to have healthy competitions at school. It would be the girls versus the boys, and so that type of thing. I was like obviously on the girls' team, and we just wanted to prove to the boys that, you know what, you guys are not smarter than us. So having those type of healthy competitions in class. Not to be jealous, but like to just have a healthy competition with each other as friends or as just classmates. It sort of like helps, because as a girl group, we'd actually stay after school if nobody understands a certain subject or a certain calculation that they need to do, and just help each other out because we wanted to win. And yeah, I'm glad to share that all of my friends, all of my girlfriends that we started off from like grade 8, they are all doctors except for me, obviously. And yeah, we've made it and we're still together even today. So those relationships, they actually go a long way. So you can start forming them from as early as your grade 8, grade 10, doesn't matter what grade you are. Get a couple of people that you click with and help each other, and just have those healthy competitions amongst each other, or even with other people in your class, and just get someone from your community to help mentor you and use this platform really to actually help you or give you directions with regards to how you're supposed to do in terms of maths and physics.
Great, thanks for the advice, Jabu. And lastly, adding to that, because I see a lot of conversation in the chat around the feeling that you have to be at 100% in order to be doing good. Yes, math and science is important, and this is something also key advice, particularly in South Africa, is I've met with a lot of teachers who try to push you to choose. In South Africa, we have pure mathematics and then applied mathematics, right? And in order to get into tertiary studies like University of Technology, or even to vet colleges, it is actually better to have a 50% in pure mathematics than 100% in applied maths, because it opens up more opportunities for you. So don't feel pressured by having to achieve 90% or 100%. Is understand the opportunities that lie ahead for you based on the careers you choose within your schooling career, right? So yes, it might feel challenging, but challenges now set you up for success later on as well. And having this community now is really about supporting you and knowing that everybody's got an existing challenge somewhere in your life, and how can we work together to help solve that, right? So I see a lot more hands up and a lot more questions coming in chats. I'm going to go quickly through those that have raised their hands to maybe ask their questions. Neo, you've got your hand up. Do you want to share? Okay, Mutlatsi, I see your hands up.
Greetings, everybody. I have a question specifically from Miss Malebe, Miss Judith. I heard you were talking about when you were in high school, you didn't know which career to choose. So then what happens if you're a learner who is interested in more than one career, but then you don't have a teacher who's going to tell you that you're smart enough to be in this career, or your interest, your personality suits this career? What journey or steps should you take to choose the right career? Thank you.
Hi, Mutlatsi. That's a very interesting question. And what I would like to say firstly is not everyone has it all figured out. So if you check from the other engineers as well, you find that they stumble upon what they do right now and what they love. So what I would advise you is you perform to the best of your ability with the subjects that you have, and you start discovering what are the things that excite you the most. What do you like? For example, currently, if you are doing science, mathematics, then you start looking at what careers obviously require those subjects, and what is required of you. For example, in STEM related fields, it's not only engineering, there's also science, there's also medicine. You start looking at those, and then you try fit yourself where you think you would probably do well. For example, also even when you are in engineering, sometimes you don't even know which engineering specifically to take, but you can just do research, ask around, also use this platform as well to ask about the different engineerings. And if you feel more inclined to take a certain engineering, you can always apply. And the nice thing is you always have, in some varsities too, in some varsities you have 3 options to choose from. So you can use that in order to direct yourself. But eventually you just, you do well in your schooling and in your subjects, and you will stumble across what you like.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Mutlatsi? Thank you.
Great question, Malatsi. And I see so many chats coming up as well. There is one question from Kafil Ware from Botswana, so maybe Etna, you can help. So she's asking, what grades do you have to obtain in maths and science to qualify to be a chemical engineer? So maybe this is also applicable for Lena. A quick one from South Africa is, as we said, studying to join the engineering and technology sector is you can study at a university, you can study at a university of technology, or what's called a TVET college, right? And how you choose where you want to study is based on how practical you like to work. So do you like to be very theoretical and read from the textbooks, or do you like working with your hands? And so at each of the different institutions, there's different levels in terms of maths and science marks. Maths and science is important across the board. To get into university within the South African context is you need to have at least minimum is 60 to 70% in maths and science, but obviously it is a very competitive qualification. So you do need to try and work towards A's. And then when you're at University of Technologies, it's around 50% that you need. And then at Tibet College, also around 50% or a pass in order to get into different careers as well. Etna, maybe do you want to add from Botswana side?
Okay, I think it's sort of similar, but with our system, you've got your different cutoffs for the universities. You'd have points ranging from your 48 to 40 maybe, being your university entry to your bachelor's degree, and then the bottom part, you'd have your College of Vocational Trainings that you've been talking to, where people are now more of your handiwork. And then there's also the lower part where you have now your vocational training centers, or that's what you call them. So on year basis, usually the government will give cutoff points for the different institutions. But if you want to go to university, my advice, like you've just said, it's keep your A's and your B's mostly. So those will definitely qualify you for entry into university. There are some other questions. I saw some question talking about the sciences that you need to do. It differs. When you do your, there's your earth sciences and also your, what do you call them? Is it human biology or whatever? So there's the sciences where you do your physics and your chemistry and maths. And then there are those where you need to do all three sciences, where you do your biology, physics, and chemistry, and also maths, which are your medicines, your biomedical, and whatnot. So it differs depending on the type of engineering that you want to do. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Etna. And I see a lot more questions here in the chat as well that we can group up in terms of subjects at school. So some of them are, can I do engineering, such as accounting from Tokelo? Yes, so I've also did accounting when I was in school. The critical thing is that you also do have some level of mathematics and science. And so science can be, as Etna said, physics or biology, but more especially having a mathematics course is considered also very important. I've seen geography as well here. So geography, yes, it adds to your learning, but it's not as critical as maths and science. So even if you're not doing geography, you can still enter into engineering technology fields. Also, a key thing for everybody to understand is something that we're working on at Women is to be part of engineering and technology. Yes, it's important to get a qualification in engineering or technology, but that's not the only way to enter this industry, right? Is what we are working towards is you becoming an entrepreneur, looking for problems within your community that you can solve using engineering and technology skills. And so you don't have to have a formal qualification to become a founder, to find solutions and gain your interest. I think that's an important aspect to note as well, is that yes, having a qualification gets you easily into the sector, but you can also look at how you solve problems using engineering and technology as part of your learning and development. Let's go back to some of the hands up, and then we can come back to the chat. Swarelo, I'm hoping I pronounced that right. Is your hand up?
I don't know if everybody can hear me. Hello, guys.
Can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I have a problem here because I'm in grade 9 and I've heard, I can't remember the name. She was saying that you need to be clever so you could do, I don't know, can't remember. So what I was asking is because at my school, the teachers, she said we must ask for help, but the teachers don't, like when we ask, they're being rude and stuff. So, and extra lessons this time are very expensive and my family can't afford. So what should I do because I'm struggling? and I don't know the subjects that I'm going to choose in grade 10 because the teachers are not helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Judith, you were talking about being smart in school. I think it's also maybe while Judith comes online is, thanks Aurelio for your question, is that's why Women is here and we can support you. We have a lot of volunteers that I'm pretty sure would be happy to help you in terms of supporting you with your maths and science, should you choose those subjects for grade 10 as well. We understand schools are under pressure. Teachers sometimes also don't know themselves what's going to happen, or might not know the bigger aspects, and it can be challenging. So definitely utilize, as I said, we've got a Girl Eng WhatsApp group, is share your difficulties there, share what you're having a challenge with and how we can help you if you put it out there as well. Judith, do you want to add to that? Judith, you can go ahead, you can unmute. Okay, I'm not sure if Judith can hear, but yeah, I get.
Oh, can I say something? As you're mentioning about, you know, attending events such as Women Eng and Girl Eng, I think that's also very kind of like important if maybe you feel like you're not really getting much needed advice from teachers or things like that. I remember when I was in grade 9, I attended a Girl Eng program, and that's where I kind of like got you know, the more inspiration I needed regarding civil and everything. So I think one of the biggest advice I can give you is that don't kind of like, you know, doubt yourself or anything, just go for it. Do more research about you know, the STEM subjects and all that, and yeah, you'll be able to just you know, find ways in which you can get a step into the engineering industries. So as Aditi was mentioning about the Girl Eng or Women Eng, those are the programs that can actually help you into discovering more about the careers you can explore. So yeah.
Thanks, Adebayo, and it's amazing to see yourself, how you were in grade 9 and part of a program like this, and now you as a civil engineer sharing your advice as well. So thanks so much for that.
So I must say, Women Eng really did help me from a very young age, since grade 9, and then also the fellowship program as well, and just yeah, I think it has helped me so much.
Great. Let's move on quickly because I see we're running out of time. Olivia, do you want to share anything?
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Olivia. You can go ahead.
Okay. I would just like to ask a question from the engineers.
Go ahead.
Like, what safeguards do you use to avoid mistakes?
Great question. So, engineers, you work in dangerous places and industries. So how do you avoid making mistakes?
Yes.
Anyone wants to go first? Etna?
All right, I'll go first. It's in terms of all the professions, you get your code of practices, your industry standards, and all. It's sort of what governs your work in terms of your safety and health. So as well as the mines, they do have that, and there are also regulations that govern the way you do your work. So with us in Botswana, we've got your Mines, Quarries, Works and Machinery Act, and you also have your Minerals and Mines and Minerals Act. So whatever you do, you need to be within the clauses of the law and also within the standards. And on site as well, we have what we call operational procedures to say when I go and excavate or drive a truck down the pit, this is how I do it. And in terms of my design as a planner designing the pit, this is how I need to design my pit so that it's stable. People working under those walls are also safe. The wall won't collapse on those people. So those are the things that govern our processes and our activities on a day-to-day basis. I don't know if I've answered your question. Thanks.
Great, thanks. Any of our other engineers want to add to that?
I'd just say it's basically like, as Edna said, your industry standards, and these come all the way from what you study at varsity. So they'll teach you about the profession that you're in. This is how you do this. Like, say for geology, to say if I would need to know about what's going on, then you need to do drilling. If drilling didn't work, then sample. If you can't sample, then maybe go to the field. And you learn all those type of things, that these are the techniques that a geologist uses in order to figure things out or to find out. So you won't make those mistakes. And when you get to the mines or to wherever, to the industry, then you get governed by the industry standards. It also helps to just have what you call pay attention to little details. You know, as a scientist, you need to be a technical thinker, think outside the box, and just pay attention to details. And yeah, it sort of helps. Industry standards and just what you learn at varsity with regards to your profession would go a long way with experience.
Great advice, Jabu. And maybe while you're on, we can answer some of the questions here around how do you choose what field to go in? So I showed a mind map earlier as well, and there's so many fields of engineering. Jabu, you briefly had shared how you went into one field and then now into geology. How did you try to figure out what's best for you?
So how I chose computer science initially was, we used to, at schools, they usually have career guidance, they have career, those exhibitions. So you attend all of those things, and then they are, every university, they usually have those, is it the books, what are they called, the portfolio, where they showcase all the type of careers or even like courses that they have. And then so I remember one day I actually sat down because everybody in my class and everybody around me wanted to do medicine. So I actually just sat down and I read that book and just tried to find, you know, what is it that I connect with out of the careers that the university I was interested in was offering. And then I said, okay, then let me try a computer science. But, you know, should you try something and it doesn't work, it's never too late to actually just jump off the ship and do what you love. So the nice part is you guys are still young and you still got a long way. So yeah, you can just do your research. And if you can find a mentor, I highly recommend it. And I think Aditi, maybe there's platforms like this, they come up with such things as your mentoring type of programs and just such platforms as this, where you get a whole lot of engineers talking about their different fields. That's how you find out, okay, I think I connect with this field, and you take it from there.
Yeah, great advice, Jabu. And from my personal experience as well, I was also very, when I was choosing civil engineering, not really sure what type of engineering I wanted to go into. I knew I wanted to go into engineering, but wasn't sure the specific field. So an exercise I also did was, instead of thinking what interested me most, I eliminated the options. So I knew I didn't really like chemical engineering or electrical engineering. So I canceled out options until I made a smaller list and then decided, okay, which one do I go with? And I had exposure into civil because my dad was involved in construction. So as you can see, decision making is very different for everybody. Any other engineers? Lina, from your side, you are a student right now. What helped you make that choice?
Like I said before, I wanted to do civil engineering at the beginning, but then it was full. However, the person who was helping me told me apparently that engineering is chemical engineering is a very interesting one and that I should go for it. And then so I just went for it. And then I ended up actually loving it.
Great advice. I see Rupali's
And it's
hand.
also,
Oh, sorry, yeah, Lina?
and also for like in Namibia, like at Namibia University of Science and Technology, the first year of our engineering, we actually get to it has to be like a combination of courses which kind of like involve different let me say types of engineering. Like we have a module that is electrical circuits that mostly has to do just with electrical power. So you find that people that actually find more interest in that electrical circuit or actually end up loving it go for electrical power in their second year, because first year we all do the same modules but then it's just like a combination from different engineering departments. So those that end up loving, let's say for instance, chemistry, or they end up loving, let's say for instance, mechanics, actually love civil engineering. And yeah, so I think for us, you also just get to decide in your first year, and then let's say you were in civil engineering and you didn't love it, but you loved maybe electrical circuits, and then the other second year you can actually just go for electronics or power.
Great advice. And you brought up a good insight there, Lina, is everybody is generally, if you are studying at university, a university degree is typically 3 to 4 years. And in the first year, it's very much based on maths and science and working from what you've learned in high school. And so it's very generalized versus you specializing in that particular field in your first year. So your first year, almost all different engineering disciplines study together. And then from your second year onwards, that's when you start doing specialized courses relevant to your discipline. Great advice, Lina. I see now, Lina, your hand's up as well. Do you have a question?
Yes, good morning to all of you. So my question is to Ms. Lina Nakama, the student in Namibia. My question is, what subjects do I have to study in high school to become a chemical engineer? And what are the opportunities in Namibia to become a chemical engineer? Are the job opportunities? Yeah, that's my question.
Great, thanks. And now,
Well, the subjects that you need to study. Okay, the subjects that you need to study in your matrix is actually just physics, chemistry, and math. They look at those three, and you have to do them on high level. And you have to get a minimum of a grade 3. And if you're not doing them on high level, then you are gonna have to go through in STEM, which is more they give you an introductory of all of physics and maths. So yeah, like if you don't have them on high level, then you're gonna have to go through in STEM. But then if you have them on high level, then you have to make sure you get a minimum of a grade 3. And regarding the opportunities, yes, there are opportunities in Namibia. You can work in so many different companies. You can choose to work in Dundee, which deals with smelting of copper. You can choose to go and work at water treatment like City of Windhoek. You can also choose to go and work in the breweries where they make beer, or you can go in any other food production. Like the job opportunities are in Namibia. Hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Ms. You answered my question very well. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Anil. I see our time is coming close to the end very quickly. Claudia, do you have a question that you want to ask?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, everyone. My question goes to Ms. Chabulile. So what do I need to study for me to become a computer engineer?
The answer There's maths and physics. So you just have to, I can't remember what you call, what grade you have to get, but basically I'd say get more than 60% in your maths and physics, and that's it. If you've got experience in computers, maybe you've done your Word and whatever, if you've got any computer courses that you've got in your school, that would also be advantageous. But yeah, math and physics, that's it.
Okay, but then, okay, like I had computer studies in grade 8 and 9, but I'm now currently in grade 11, but I'm only having science geography. So will it also work out?
Sorry, are you are in grade 11? Are you doing maths? You're still doing maths and physics?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you still got maths and physics, that's what you need.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
If you get good marks in that should work.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Great. And Claudia, I just want to add, for those that are interested in computer studies and computer science, there is also now a lot of free courses online, especially with Google. And there's a website called Google Skills for Africa, where they have courses that teach you the basics of like coding and robotics and AI, and courses related to computer science that you can test out and play with outside of school as well. And there's a lot of courses available now where if you qualify, you can even get a job with, example, Microsoft, Google and stuff as well. So do look out for Google Skills for Africa. They provide free courses for you to learn more about computer science. Okay. And so we are rounding off. I see there's so many questions and so many hands up. We will continue the conversation and take a lot of these questions on our Garland group. I am going to start rounding off. There is one last question, and maybe just quickly from around the room with our engineers. Do you enjoy a social life? Do you have a family life, or is it all about engineering? I see Edna smiling. Edna, maybe do you want to share your take on that question?
All right. It really depends on the type of job you do and the team that you have as a whole, so that you are able to, should I say, divide or allocate your work properly during the day and the weekends. So with myself, I'm married, I have a family. There are times when it gets sort of hectic, where you need to work weekends, but most of the time I do enjoy my time with my family. So you get a bit of both. So it's entirely up to you how you balance your things and allocate your work throughout the team, so that you are able to share or alternate your weekends, so that you also deliver on the work end as well. As much as you want to enjoy your family, you also have to have your work being balanced as well. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Edna. And I see we are up for time, so I'm going to start rounding up. I'd love to hear more from you. Engineers, I want to say a quick thank you to you. Is there anyone that wants to share that one burning thought in your mind right now, piece of advice to the girls as we round up?
Work hard, play hard.
I wanted to say that as well.
and yeah, just balance. Like, I love traveling. So I've got, obviously, as a geologist, most of the time you work in remote areas. So, but what I love the most is when I take my leave is I actually travel into a whole lot of countries, and I travel a lot. And people are like, when do you work? And I'm like, nobody asked me about this. I'm like hibernating in a rural area, some ways, and just focusing on my work. So I just find balance in family life and my school life, because I still study as well. And yeah, just balance it all out. It's possible.
Same here. That's what I wanted to say. As she was saying, work hard, play hard. So I think I'm a very flexible person. I love exploring. I love doing a lot of things, singing, traveling, and just finding a balance, between engineering and my social life as a young adult, But one advice I can also give you is that don't doubt yourself. I know there's a lot of stigma around, engineering being the hardest module you can ever do, and just how mathematics or science is hard. I remember in varsity, I used to fail, guys. Like, I failed dismally, but just for the mere fact that, you keep believing in yourself and you don't give up, I feel like you can always make it. As long as you believe in yourself, you know who you are, you know what you want and the value you want to bring in the country or just globally. I believe that you can get there if you believe in yourself and just go for it. It's possible. It's really possible.
I think my last one for the girls, it's I've seen so many questions about teachers and not be able to get the books and whatnot. Like you've highlighted, just get yourself into a group, study partners and whatnot. That will carry you through, you would understand much better. Maybe you do share similar experiences. We also had similar groups when we were at varsity. We would go and visit one another for this weekend, study through the modules. Next week, we are at another place. So those kind of arrangements do help. And also the other critical thing is when you get to varsity, even if you came as a bright student, it will humble you at some point. So don't give up. Just know that it's not easy. Some people got their degrees in 8 years, but at the end of the day, you make it, just stay strong, and engineering is just exciting. So all the best, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, engineers. It's been amazing. I want to quickly, before we end, anyone of our girls want to share what have you learned from the session? Has it been helpful for you? Just some closing thoughts from your side. Anyone wants to go? You can unmute yourself.
I feel like this meeting was quite effective, and I feel we have learned much. So I myself personally want to become a doctor, but learning from the engineers from the best, I've learned that I think I can also go into the chemical industry of engineering. So yeah, I've learned a lot from this meeting.
Great, thanks, Anal. And thanks for having your video on as well. Jade, from your side?
I just wanted to say that the video conference was very motivating. I felt very discouraged recently, and you guys have helped me, I would say. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Jade. I see one more hand up, Lireko.
Hey, I want to know. I had someone say you have to. It was like a motto. She said that you have to play hard and work hard. I want to understand what she meant. I wanted to understand.
So work hard, play hard. That also means that you must make enough time to study, while also taking time to rest and enjoy yourself as well. It should never be always stress in your life and work. You must have a balance between the two.
I'd just like to add, Aditi, that there's a time for everything. So work hard, play hard just means when it's time to study, you do exactly that. And really, when you are still at school, your main focus should be just your studies, and just great to put your foot into different doors that are available out there. I always tell people that your high school results, specifically like your matric results, they are really your key to opening like doors, a lot of doors for you, whether after you finish your matric. So while you're still at school, focus on your school. And then when you start working and you start making money and starting to work, basically that's when you can do what you love, like explore. If you love traveling, like I love traveling, then I go on holidays and see places and meet people. That's what I mean. I don't mean like go out there and drink and waste your life and that type of thing, but just like know that, okay, it's time for me to study, and you do just that. And then when it's time for you to actually work and focus on your work or your school, you do just that. So for you guys, I'd advise you to focus on your school right now, because the rewards are quite great, and getting good results for you at school is going to open up a lot of doors for you. So when you actually start working, then you can start saying work hard, play hard, like me.
Great, thanks, Jabu. Yeah, we are going way over time. I do see Lebawane, your hand's been up for a while. Is there any closing thoughts from your side?
Hey everyone.
Hi Lebawane, you can go ahead.
Oh, I've learned a lot today. I was once told that engineering is a profession dominated by males. So I lost all interest in engineering. Today I learned to work hard, I learned to believe in myself, and I can make it through engineering. Thank you.
What perfect way to end. Thank you, Lebawane. So closing off, I do know we're going well over time. There's so many more questions to answer, so many more insights to give. We do have, so post this, we do have our Girl and WhatsApp group where you can share these questions, and I would like you to share these questions in the group if we haven't been able to answer them. And also for you all to give your insights. I really like the conversation that's been had here with Jade and Lydia sharing from different countries as well, talking about the same issues. So please, a link will be shared in the group after this to our main Girl and WhatsApp group. Please join if you want to continue the conversation. We'll also be emailing it to you if you want to continue the engagement and relationship with us. We'll also be sharing a feedback form from you. We'd love to hear how we can make this better and how to continue our engagement with you. But really, this is the start of your relationship with us. And hopefully we have many more Adivayos with us in the next 10 years, who's also now civil engineers, chemical engineers, and talking to more girls just like yourself. So thank you everybody for joining, and we'll catch you on the Girl and WhatsApp group where you can share more of your questions and insights with us. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
You guys were
Bye.
great. Bye-bye.